What's going on, guys? Afflicted Gamer here, back with another Division video. So it is Friday, April the 21st, which means all of the vendors have restocked, and same thing with the DZ checkpoints. So I will be going from place to place, finding all of the best items for sale this week. So if the video is helpful at all, please drop it a like, because it does take quite a bit of time to make. And also, if you are new to the channel, I hope you will consider subscribing for more Division content. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter at AfflictedGamer and Facebook.com/AfflictedGamer. Send me your funniest moments in the Division to Facebook and Twitter so I can pick somebody for the 1K giveaway. If you don't know what that's about, then go ahead and check out the 1K giveaway video. Now, here at the Blueprints vendor, if I already have the blueprint, it won't appear for me, so just double check this guy. Other than that, everywhere else will be the same for me as yourself. So first up, there is a M870 Express. For those of you running shotguns, a classic AK-47, electronics backpack, electronics vest, a EXP holographic sight tan with optimal range, not the greatest, but you know, and then a quick release mag, nothing too special. Alright, let's go check out our exotics for this week. What roles do we have? Alright, the Historian. 151% headshot damage, 40.8k base damage. Remember, the base damage will differ depending on your firearms, and the rolls this week: brutal, deadly, and history repeats. Wow, really good roll again this week. The Centurion with expert and capable. Cassidy, 140k base damage, 346 stagger with self-preserved, fierce, and boomstick. The Pecan, 13% to damage to targets out of cover with skilled, prepared, and Pecan. You could reroll skilled for something else and have a pretty decent Pecan. The Liberator, 21% enemy armor damage, 17.3k base damage with vicious, fierce, and dominant. Well, for those of you running a skill build, this would be not too bad of a choice for you. PP19, unforgiving and responsive with 21% crit hit chance. That's actually pretty nice. AK-47 with brutal, dominant, and vicious. 22% enemy armor damage. You could get rid of dominant for something like deadly or destructive. That would be pretty good there. Super 90, not too bad. Hunting M44, just figured I'd take a glance at these, and that is about it. Okay, I will let you guys scroll over the gear because everybody wants something different, and for the most part, gear drops left, right, and center. Honestly, I wouldn't really buy anything unless it was absolute god roll, or you just happen to need that one specific piece, because you know we can get loot anywhere in the division. Okay, let's go upstairs.
On second thought, never mind.
Alright, upstairs at the base, there's nothing too special in terms of weapons, but there is a Omega rifle suppressor. 17.5% headshot damage, 2% accuracy, 3% crit hit chance with reduced threat. Now, you would want crit damage instead of accuracy, but if you're in desperate need of a Omega rifle suppressor, there is one upstairs at the base.
Was hoping to make a sale.
Okay, over at Camp Hudson, there's some pretty decent items over here, not bad. First up, we have this Enduring Mask, 1243 stamina with crit hit chance and disorient resistance. You could get rid of disorient resistance for something else and keep the crit hit chance, or vice versa. On top of that, there is a prototype firearms mod, 260 firearms with 3% skill haste for anybody running a skill build that likes to stack skill haste and wants to unlock certain talents on their guns. That is there. Also, over at the weapons vendor, he's got a pretty good extended magazine, 109.5% mag size. This will change in the future. They're working on it. Massive is fixing this, where these power level 34 ones will go up a lot higher, up to 121%, I believe. 2.5% crit hit chance and 4.7% rate of fire, so not too bad. So if you're in need of an extended mag, or you don't have the blueprint, you can't craft up a whole bunch, I would pick this up here. And then again, Camp Hudson. So at the Cavern Safe House here in the Garment District, he has a relentless backpack with stability and ammo capacity. The reason why I'm showing this is for those of you that do use your skills more than your weapons, you can reroll stability for something like health or skill power, and then on top of that, there is a prototype performance mod with 2% pulse critical hit damage. So for those of you that like to stack your crit, here you go.
Sorry
There's
you
a
didn't see him
performance
through your
mod to
right.
throw in your backpack, knee pads, or holster. Again, at the cavern. If you
Hey,
make your way over to Dante's Run Safe House, he does have a specialized backpack, 1215 stamina. Major attributes are stability and minor disrupt resistance, but you could reroll stability for skill power or health. Specialized is very helpful. They do drop quite often in, well, PvE, PvP, last stand caches, you name it, but I know a few people that really want one and just can't seem to get that drop. So, anyways, that's for sale. And on top of that, there is a 7% ballistic shield health prototype performance mod for sale as well.
Hey, maybe next time.
So at the Crypt Safe House, this guy usually has good weapons week to week, but this week it is only a tactical M1911 with Expert and Brutal. However, there is again an Omega Rifle Suppressor, 16% headshot damage, not the highest, but it's middle tier, 4% critical hit damage with 2% accuracy. The accuracy you would rather have crit hit chance, but you know what? Again, if you're in need of a Omega Rifle Suppressor, there's one here, this time with crit hit damage instead of crit hit chance. Again, with reduced threat. So that's at the crypt. So at the Firewall Safe House, this guy is selling a pretty decent pair of Savage Gloves, 1001 armor, 1217 electronics with shotgun damage, health on kill, and crit hit chance. So if you are running a skill build, you could either keep the electronics as is and re-roll shotgun damage if you're not using one, which I doubt you are if you're using a skill build, and then keep the health on kill and crit chance. You've got a pretty good set of PvE Savage Gloves.
When you're ready to buy, I'll be here.
Over at the Grindhouse Safe House, she actually has a pretty good black market AK-74, 22% enemy armor damage, 21.9k base damage with prepared, vicious, and meticulous. So this is a pretty nice PvE weapon, I would say for sure. So if you're a fan of the black market AK-74, go ahead and pick it up. Okay, now moving into the Dark Zone at West 31st Street. She has a military Scar H, 147 headshot damage. I know that that is a bit on the low side, but it does have prepared, unforgiving, and harmful. If you don't want harmful because it is in the free slot, you could obviously go ahead and reroll that for something else. But harmful, in my opinion, is a pretty good talent to have.
You might regret
So,
not buying from me.
again, that's at West 31st Street.
Time.
At the West 34th Street DZ checkpoint, it is not the best, but there once again is an Omega Rifle Suppressor. 18% headshot damage, 2% accuracy, and 2.5% crit hit chance with reduced threat. So if you're stockpiled with DZ funds and you don't know what to spend it on, you need a suppressor for some reason. This one's here and it has 18% headshot damage, higher than the ones that are in the PvE area so far. So that's why I thought I would point this one out.
I'm sure
Moving
you'll
on.
be back.
At the West 46th Street DZ checkpoint, first up, he has an ACR with 22% enemy armor damage, 18.6k base damage with prepared, dominant, and vicious. You could obviously reroll dominant for brutal or anything of that sort. By the way, do you guys see the crows flying in the DZ checkpoint? Kind of strange. Okay, vigorous chest piece with health, skill haste, and ammo capacity, 1199 stamina, which you could obviously reroll. And then finally, a prototype performance mod with 5% support station healing speed. So, not too bad at this DZ checkpoint. Fuck's sakes. At the West 53rd Street DZ checkpoint. Okay, now it's not the greatest, but for the new players, there is a Lavoisi for sale. If you don't have a blueprint, you don't already have one, and you're desperate to get one, there's one here, 23% enemy armor damage with swift, commanding, and self-preserved. You'd have to reroll off one of either Swift or Commanding for sure. You could make use out of it in PvE, but that's about it. Same thing with the Cunning Gloves. I know some people are a fan, but there is Skill Haste, Enemy Armor Damage, Shotgun Damage. These aren't top tier choices, but again, some of the new players may want it. But finally, 5.5% First Aid Self Heal. For sure, if you don't have one of these, I would pick this up if you don't already have a better one.
I'm sure you'll be back.
At the East 53rd DZ checkpoint, there is a Black Market M60, 12% damage to targets out of cover with skilled, capable, and predatory. You could reroll off skilled for something else. Have yourself a pretty good PvE Black Market M60. And there is a prototype stamina mod, 255 stamina with 1% crit hit chance. There are people that do like to stack their crit even with these mods, so there you go. And then finally, there is a pro red dot sight tan with 6% headshot damage, 4% crit damage, and 2% accuracy. Obviously, instead of accuracy, you'd rather have crit hit chance, but this is the best one we've seen so far this week for this type of a sight. Actually, the only one, I think. At the East 42nd Street DZ vendor, he does have a pretty decent extended magazine, 110.5% mag size with reload speed and crit hit chance. So anybody running, M60s, infantry MG5s, pecans, etc., reload speed will help there, instead of rate of fire, but that will be personal preference and choice. But I figured I would show you that this is for sale here anyway, so that you guys could decide whether you want to pick it up or not. Okay, so for the final stop of the week at East 34th Street DZ checkpoint, sadly this week did not have very much to offer. It is a rejuvenated mask with 1211 firearms, 9.5% EDR, and 9% damage to elites. You could re-roll off the EDR and keep something else if you're in desperate need of a rejuvenated mask. They are very helpful, so if you don't have one, I would grab one for sure. Or just hope that one drops somewhere out of a cache or open world bosses, whatever the case may be. Or if you're stockpiled on DZ funds, go ahead and pick it up. But anyways, guys, that's it for this week. I hope that the video was helpful, and if it was, please once again go ahead and drop it a like. Consider subscribing to the channel if you are new. Follow me on Twitter at Afflicted Gamer to stay in touch with me. And on top of that, facebook.com/afflictedgamer. The stream times will be at the end of the video. As always, guys, enjoy the rest of your day, the rest of your weekend, and your week with getting the items that you do want, and I will see you soon in the next video.